used to people that are very like down to earth and nice and kind and open and chill. So when I moved to LA, it was definitely like a bit of a culture shock because I just felt like people here are very superficial. I don't care about like Porsches or Ferraris or like crazy things. I just want to make sure that I'm happy and healthy.
LA people are very fake about what they are, but people are real about what they want.
I've lived and I've traveled and I have experience and I have a voice and I have opinions. And if somebody can't handle that, that is a goodbye. A lot of men in LA are not great as they are. They need to do a lot of work. You should always want to be growing and evolving and learning. And I think that's great to do with somebody else.
If you just go and travel the world and you do the things that you love and you find another person who loves doing the same things, boom, you have the perfect match.
AI has gotten really good in the last just 6 months alone. So it's
But that's the
terrifying.
If you feel like life is just a fun game and you have all the cheat codes, that's exactly what your life is like.
Intuition, yeah, if you get a bad feeling about something or you're just like drawn to something else, or intuitively you're like that person is like maybe malicious in some way, yes, always trust your intuition. But making assumptions is that inner voice inside your head that like doesn't shut the that you just need to turn off sometimes.
Welcome to Unattainable. Glad to have you with us. First of all, thank you to all of our followers. We've been getting a ton of engagement from you guys over the last few weeks, and we've seen our growth numbers go out, so we got to thank all of you guys out there for that. Today, we got a couple special guests on the show. This is Bec and Maria. Why don't you guys go ahead? We'll start with Bec. Introduce yourself to the audience. Name, what you do, and your star sign.
Hi, I'm Bec Doyle. I'm a model and actress, and I'm a Virgo.
Very nice. My name is Maria. I am a travel influencer. I have a YouTube channel, and I am a Gemini.
Gemini.
Nice.
Whoa, what are these reactions? Hold up.
For that one.
Yeah, y'all are, let's just say, bad for my mental health.
Really?
My therapist said I'm not supposed to talk to Geminis anymore.
That's weird.
So I don't think I even know that many Geminis. And if I do, I think they just like keep it to themselves.
I don't know any other Geminis.
They're very fun, very fun. I think toxic is the word that comes to mind.
Wow, but I think I'm like the least toxic person ever though.
Oh, totally.
That is definitely the energy I got from you.
It's just
Yeah,
all of the
I
other
believe
Geminis.
that.
Yeah, I think it's all of the other Geminis. I think
yeah,
you just
definitely.
got bad
They're
luck
giving you
with
a
the
bad
Geminis.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't judge, by the way. I used to be very toxic back in my villain era. Yeah.
Villain era.
Now I'm very shy and romantic, but yeah, back in the day. But to be fair, I was a professional fuckboy back in the day. Not like these little Gen Z amateur little TikTok hair fuckboys on their little bird scooters. Fucking
The hair thing,
all their furniture is just off TikTok shop. Bed is just smashed up into the corner. Has no idea what a nightstand is. I don't understand the new wave,
I mean, yeah, they haven't lived yet. They don't have any experience. They don't know what they're looking for, what their aesthetic is. So that makes sense.
Like, I'm just saying, if I was a girl, I would at least date like a professional fuckboy that knows what he's doing. So when you get fucked over, at least you get fucked over like on your European vacation, and not like at Half Price Tuesday at Applebee's.
That would be better. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like in LA, most of the men are just fuckboys, as you like to say. But yeah, whether they're on TikTok or have influencers or are influencers or have a lot of money or have good careers, I feel like it's just like LA is the city of fuckboys. I don't know what your experience was. You used to live here, right?
Yeah. I don't like those type of people, so I usually stay far away from them.
That's why you moved back.
Yeah. I mean, no, not because of them, just because I didn't like LA in general. Yeah, honestly, I don't have anything to comment on this topic. Like,
Well, why did
Good for you.
You moved out to LA,
yeah.
so you didn't like it here. What was it about LA you didn't like?
So I come from a very cute little country, from a little island, from the middle of the forest.
From where?
From Estonia.
Estonia.
Yes.
I've been to Latvia and Lithuania, but we never made it all the way. Yeah.
You should go to Estonia too. It's cute there.
Okay.
So, I'm used to people that are very like down to earth and nice and kind and open and chill. So when I moved to LA, it was definitely like a bit of a culture shock because I just felt like people here are very superficial, and not everybody, of course. Like I had my friends, they were amazing, still are. But just the overall vibe is so different because here people just have different values and goals in life. And as somebody who's also like pretty cute and chill, you know, I don't care about like Porsches or Ferraris or like crazy things. I just want to make sure that I'm happy and healthy and that my friends are good and my family is good. Like these are the important things for me. So I just felt like it didn't really click with me in LA. I had super good job opportunities and of course I made a lot of money, so it was cool. But I feel like I was lacking I don't know, like the spiritual or the emotional side.
The depth.
Yeah, the depth, exactly.
So I'm from Wisconsin, and it's very similar culture shock when I first moved here, because Wisconsin is very much, you go by your word, you say what you mean what you say. My dad's very like old school. What I will say is LA people are very fake about what they are, but people are real about what they want. Like people are like, I want to be rich, I want to be famous, I want to fuck hot chicks. Not me, like a very shy and romantic, just all the other guys out there. But like, whereas in Wisconsin, people are very real about where they are, like they're humble. But then everybody like pretends like those things don't matter. And like money's not important, but money actually is very important.
It is.
You know what I mean? It's like there's like a balance between them.
I'm from Australia, so I fully relate to that, and everything you've both said resonates with me in those ways. But also I think coming to LA was not as much as a culture shock because it is like very similar. I'm from Sydney, Australia, and so it was like kind of the same looking, other than it being a desert. Obviously Sydney is not a desert, but like, you know, just very like warm and tropical, and everyone's friendly and says hi, and like that kind of vibe is definitely the same in Australia. But I think there is more depth to people, you know, as a generalization in Sydney or Australia as well. Just that real, like, you know, good hearts, you know, out
Funny
for.
you say that.
Why?
So we have a group of friends from Australia. Half of them are from Sydney and half of them are from Melbourne. And the Melbourne people said like Sydney is like the ghetto part of Australia.
Of course they would.
And then the Sydney people's like, yeah, Melbourne people, they don't know how to have fun. They don't know, they're like so like stuck in the mud, blah blah blah.
That's so funny. They
Is
always
that
want to
true?
make it like a competition, like a rivalry.
Well, that's
to me, it's
Australians.
not.
You guys are like that.
We are very competitive. I'm not going to lie. I am also very competitive. I try and like, you know, taper it in. But no, I mean, I lived for like a few months in Melbourne and I absolutely loved it, but it got freezing. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Freezing fucking cold. By like January, February was like, you know, 40 something degrees, which is like over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And then within like 2 or 3 months, it was like literally freezing, like chilling your bones. So I was like, okay, peace, I'm out, back to Sydney. But I think people in both cities are amazing. I didn't have any kind of, I mean, obviously I don't think Sydney is ghetto. It is not ghetto. Have you ever been?
No, I haven't been to Australia.
Have you been?
No, but I
Next
might
on
go.
your trip, yeah, you need to find someone to send you to Australia, especially right now. Like obviously, it's summer there right now. This is the best time to be in Australia. We just missed New Year's. New Year's in Sydney is the absolute best. I'm really upset.
Australian people, they're very blunt. That's what I do like.
Yes, we say it as it is.
There's
call
no
it as
bullshit,
we see it.
you know?
Yeah.
A lot of people can't handle that fire. Like,
No,
they're
for
like,
sure.
I know some people are like, dude, they're so rude. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, that's kind of fun though. Like, come on. I'm a guy, so it's a little bit different. Like,
I feel like people will probably take me that way here. I've been here like almost 11 years. Actually,
you do
no.
seem like you have a
11 years. I know.
strong personality.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, right?
Let me ask you a question. I'm curious. So you come off as very like alpha female type, right?
Okay.
So like when you date a guy, is it like you need a guy who's super fucking manly to like be even like more alpha than you to make you feel more like a woman?
Yeah.
Or is it the opposite? It's like you like being in charge and you
No.
like the little soy boy beta male
Yeah,
simp?
no. I don't like being in charge. I
Okay.
just like, I guess I just, you know, I know what I want. I know who I am. I've, you know, have lived experience of like a million different things. I didn't go through all of that to then pretend to be, you know, all quiet and reserved. Like I've lived and I've traveled and I have experience and I have a voice and I have opinions. And if somebody can't handle that, that's, you know, that is a goodbye. But I definitely need someone that can kind of meet me where I'm at. I don't need someone to like dominate or you know, belittle, you know what I mean? I think it can come to a fine line with that, especially when you meet with guys, especially who are more dominant. Like I don't want to be dominated, but I definitely don't want to be with like a soy boy, as you said.
Yeah.
I like to be challenged. I think that's important in any relationship, to be challenged. And obviously to just have respect and trust and love and laugh. That's the most important thing. But yeah, I don't want to dominate. That's definitely not the intention.
Do you find it difficult to find guys who aren't intimidated by you? Or in some way feel less, I don't know if emasculated is the right word, but kind of like...
I haven't even said or done anything to emasculate anyone, and you're saying that. That's crazy. Yeah, I guess I've become more aware of those things more recently, like in the last couple of years, I guess. That my energy or, you know, how I am, just as I am, can maybe emasculate some men. It's not the intention at all. And I think, you know, if that's the way it comes across, if that's the way it makes someone feel, then that's not the person for me. Or, you know, I don't know, or even a friend. Yeah. I don't know. I have a lot of, you know, male friends, and they're all super strong as well. I think, you know, they definitely know how I am.
There's something different in the water in Australia.
Yeah.
The men are like, fuck.
Yeah. That's the thing. They're so...
muscles, creatine up to their brain cells. It's like crazy, you know?
I know. I mean, I haven't lived
Fighting
there in a long
kangaroos and
time
snakes
though.
and shit, you
I
know?
mean, they're tough.
Yeah.
I mean, kangaroos are really tough. So
Yeah.
our men need to be like equally tough. Yeah.
Protect you from the wild
Exactly.
dangers.
Yeah. Those damn kangaroos. No, I mean, yeah. It's what about you? How do you date? What do you look for?
What's your type?
So I wouldn't say I just go out and try to date people or look for something, or I have a type. I'm just living my life, and if the right person comes, then I will know that it's the right person, because I am very empathetic. Like, I feel things a lot, so I can tell the vibe of a person, and if I click with them or not, like from the first second. So if just somebody comes along my way and I feel like I click with them, I'm like, okay, cool. But if they come along my way and I don't click with them, I'm not gonna, you know,
Push it.
try to make something out of it.
Yeah.
So it
So,
really
like,
depends on
ugly
the person.
guys with good personalities.
No, I never said that.
No, a lot of girls like that. It's not a bad thing.
No, I just wouldn't say that I have like I don't set expectations on a person, because when you're having a type, you create this perfect person in your head, and if the other person doesn't check all the boxes, you're like, they're not good enough. But I don't feel like that's a good thing to do to a person, because they are already so amazing as they are. So in my head, like, the perfect person is exactly how they are, and it really just depends on the connection. Like, I don't care if they have blonde hair or dark hair or like blue eyes or green eyes. If I have the connection, everything will be perfect.
I feel like a lot of men in LA are not great as they are. They need to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I think that is the only place that I disagree with you on. I think that, I mean, all of us are doing work on ourselves like every single day. And I think that I would be remiss to say that is, you know, everyone's great as they are. No, we're all growing. We're all evolving. We're all, you know, learning. And I think that some people that I have had interactions with in LA just are stuck. They're stuck for whatever reason, maybe they're like their career. You know, I feel like a lot of people in LA are, I don't know if it's like Peter Pan syndrome. Like, there's just like a ton of different psychological reasons for this behavior. But I think that you should always want to be growing and evolving and learning. And I think that's great to do with somebody else. So I'm definitely like, I look for definitely the baseline has to be there. They have to be, you know, genuine.
No, like, that's
funny, smart.
Those are non-negotiables.
I'm not like into, like, I don't need to be with like a really good looking guy. I think, like, historically, looking back at the men that I've dated, I doubt people would think that they were like, you know, heartthrobs in any way.
No, it's called, there's a condition. It's called geronophilia.
What
Ugly guys with good personalities. Yeah. No, I saw it on TikTok, so it's definitely true.
Well,
which is fine.
Your
bloodline's fucked, but like, you know, like, you're gonna die someday. Your ancestors are gonna be like, "What the fuck, Bec? We could have had D1 athletes. You were tall, you know what I mean? Now we got these Oompa Loompa leprechauns running around, you know, trying to get their lucky charms back."
That's not the goal. That's not the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is. Is it? What about? Let me ask you this. What about height, though?
I don't care. I know some girls are
Really?
like, "Oh, I need to be with someone that's over 6 foot or 6'4",
What
whatever."
if he's shorter than you?
I have dated like a very long time ago a guy that was, I guess he was probably my height, but obviously like I'm, you know, even if I'm wearing like a little, you know, sandal that has like an inch on it, I'll end up being taller than him. And it didn't bother me so much, but I think he did feel emasculated by it because I'm also not like a skinny, small girl. Like I'm, you know, I'm broad, I'm, you know, tall. I'm 5'8", it's not that tall.
Yeah.
But I hold myself a certain way. So I think it does come off, maybe I'm a little taller than I am. But I feel like he was emasculated by me and my stature. But I didn't feel like it was emasculating, and I didn't think any less of him. It really doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I dated a girl who was 5'10" once.
Okay.
And
How
I'm
tall
like
are you?
6'1".
Oh, okay. Then
6'3" on Tinder, but you know, 6'1". Just kidding. I use Tinder. I'm not a loser.
wow.
But I use Raya, of course.
Yeah.
Only for the celebrities, you know.
Yeah, I get it. Are there
I'm kidding. I don't use Raya. I don't use online dating. I'm not a loser. What do you mean?
I'm
Raya
sorry,
hasn't been
I wasn't
relevant since
judging.
like 2010.
Okay, well, I'm glad. I wasn't judging. I've never been on any. I've basically been in relationship after relationship here since I've been in LA. But in a short period that I was broken up with my ex, I did go on Raya again, and it was just like sad.
Raya used to be like only celebrities. Now it's like any dude with like a 4-pack and like a fake crypto company like is on Raya. You know, it's like they've watered down everything. You
Yeah,
know?
and there's just no, like you said, there's no depth to a lot of the people on there. They like, you match, then they never say anything, or you know, you say hi and that's it. There's nothing eventuates from these things. So it's like, what's the point? And you're paying like this stupid membership and seeing the same people be filtered in front of you like day after day. Honestly, I think we should go back to, you know,
meeting
before.
people in real life.
Crazy.
Authentically.
Yeah.
Real life, face to face.
Yeah, because this is the right way. I mean, like, I've never used dating apps because already the idea seems so stupid to me. Because, like, if you just go and travel the world and you do the things that you love and you find another person who loves doing the same things, boom, you have the perfect match. So, and then the connection is more authentic also, I feel like, because already you meet them, you're face to face, you have eye contact, you can talk, you see their body language. It's already like you're gonna get so much further ahead than looking at someone's best pictures and the best bio they could write and their best pickup lines, and it's also fake because they don't show their vulnerability and their other side. They only show the best, and then maybe you will go to a date and it's all like very like formal and fake and oof.
Yeah, no,
I don't want to waste my time on that.
I agree.
Well, LA has more, I mean, the highest population of catfish anywhere in the world, including the Pacific Ocean. And it's honestly, it's literally to the point where like, I'm like, is this girl AI or is it just face app? I can't tell. It's like face app looks just like an AI girl. So I'm like, but like most girls in LA use face app. So I'm like.
Also, AI has gotten really, really good in the last just 6 months alone. So it's terrifying.
Eventually, everybody's just going to be hot as fuck on their Instagram.
Yeah.
I think it's going to revert. It's going to go back to like, you have to meet people in real life because you can't trust nothing you see on Instagram anymore. So it's like.
That's a fact. We can't trust any information. We can't trust any like videos, photos. It's a scary time to be alive.
Yeah. So it's better to go back to real life, you know, seeing your friends, doing your thing.
Crazy.
And stop the doom scrolling.
Yes, please.
Have you ever dated someone shorter than you?
No, I don't think I have. Just hasn't happened. But it's not because I don't know, like, I guess if it would have happened, I would have been fine with it.
You're not against it. You just never have.
Yeah.
I see.
Also, I'm very young, so.
Yeah. Well, one of my friends, she's like 5'11", fashion model type of vibes, and she would only date like NBA players and like basketball players and stuff. And she always like calls me for like relationship advice, like we have that type of friendship. And she's like, Zach, I'm sick of these like fuck boys. I just want a guy with personality. I don't care about looks. I don't care about the 6-pack anymore. Blah blah blah. So she starts dating this guy who's like 5'8". So that's already like 3 inches shorter than her. With heels, she's like towering over him like Shrek. Like it's just like
Shrek.
I saw them kiss once. It was like the dwarves trying to conquer the mountain in Lord of the Rings. Like they just didn't look good as a unit. You know what I mean? They just didn't look good as a unit.
Yeah.
I hope he's not watching this.
Oh, he is on a mission to save his bloodline. He is trying to get some D1 athletes.
Wait, are they still together?
No. So here's what happened. It's crazy. So I actually like the guy too. I like met him. He was like cool guy, successful, good looking too, like good, like high cheekbones, good facial symmetry, you know, just short, you know.
Can't have
so
everything.
I was like, Ashley, like what happened to John? She's like, oh my gosh. And she apparently had a couple glasses of wine. He comes over. She opens the door. She's like, Zach, I gave him a hug. And she's like, I picked him up and I spun him around. And she's like, Zach, I watched his little legs lay out to the side. She's like, Zach, after that, I lost all respect for him as a man.
Yeah, I mean, that would definitely turn you
my
off.
God.
I think, yeah.
It's tough. It's
No,
tough.
like the vision in my head, it's so
I
funny.
could never pick up a guy that I've dated. I'm just gonna maybe I could have. I don't know.
You seem like you'd be pretty
strong.
strong. You got like
Oh my
a
God.
blazer on. You look like a LinkedIn influencer or something, you know?
LinkedIn. I mean, I dress like, sophisticated.
You look good.
Things.
You look
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah.
I'm taking my friend out for dinner after this.
Oh,
It's her
okay.
birthday.
Oh.
Yes. She just got back from Australia. So.
Oh, nice.
Yes. But anyway, no, I probably could have picked that one up, the one guy up that I said was like 5'8".
Yeah,
And
it's
actually,
tough.
I think in the end, because he was emasculated by it, I think I ended up, like, you pick up on that energy. I think a lot of, relationships are energy. And when someone's putting that out there, you receive
feel
it.
it,
Yeah. But, yeah. I don't really care about height. I definitely, not a thing. But, I've never dated anyone really tall, though. Like,
What about personality traits? What do you guys go for? What do you look for?
Funny.
funny for sure. Funny,
Makes you
smart.
Smart.
It has to be smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I don't
don't.
know if I believe the smart thing. I feel like every girl says
I
that.
can't be
and
with
I'm
someone
like,
stupid.
I met
No,
some
no.
dumb dudes
Really,
that are
no.
all
They
the
need
girls-
to be intelligent. If I cannot even
Yeah.
hold a conversation with them,
I mean, I agree with
wow.
you.
Yeah. No. When I was younger, I
I
dated.
didn't give a fuck when I was younger.
Really?
Now
Oh no!
it matters a lot.
I dated
did
the
not give a fuck.
sweetest guy. We were like 17. He was a soccer player. He was so cute and he was so fucking dumb. And I tried, because he was sweet. His family was nice. He had like everything, but he was just so stupid. And I think I learned very young at that stage that was just not going to ever work for me. So
Yeah.
I think I need to be with someone, have a partner who can hold a conversation, who knows about the world. Kind of doesn't have to have like, big opinions about things, but just,
Just to understand
read.
what you're talking about or something.
or read. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some people don't read anymore.
Just first date. Name 5 books. Go.
I mean, that would be, that would be surprising if someone, could actually
In
do
my
that.
20s, I would not care at all. Like, it was just like, you're hot, cool. And this girl I dated, I swear to God, I don't know how this girl survived when I wasn't there. Because, like, I would, like, just take, like, she would get a parking ticket and, like, I don't know what to do. And I would just, like, take care of it. Like, oh, you put in the thing and then you type in the numbers. She was vegan. And on the first date, I'm not kidding you, this is crazy. She orders a chicken sandwich. And I'm like, no, babe, this is, like, it's not, like, Impossible chicken. This is, like, real chicken. And she goes, Zach, chickens don't have souls. And she would just eat chicken all the time and self-proclaimed vegan. It was crazy.
That is
Wow,
insane.
poor
and
girl.
very upsetting to me.
I mean, she just didn't have like life skills, like
Right.
she would like you have a $500 Dyson hairdryer, and next thing I see you drinking coffee out of a cereal bowl because you and your 4 roommates haven't done dishes since 2023. It's like crazy, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Like,
Yeah. No, that's funny. Yeah, she's not vegan. She.
No, she was vegan. She even told me, yeah.
But
she's
not.
she identifies as a vegan. I don't know if she's really.
Okay.
She identifies as vegan.
And also, chickens do have souls.
Yeah.
Like, where did she take this statement from?
I'm not sure about that.
Chickens, turkeys, they're
maybe,
so social. I don't
maybe.
know, like always around Thanksgiving. Obviously, it's fresh in my head because it was not that long ago. But I get flooded with like, how the algorithm works and sends you videos that they think you want to see. I finally got my algorithm to not show me like animals being tortured, and now it just shows me like UFOs and plasmoids and stuff, which is great. Up until the
Conspiracy
election,
theories,
yeah,
yeah.
they're just way better
Those
than
are
seeing
fun.
animals
Nice.
being abused. But yeah, there's like all these like videos around like Thanksgiving of how social turkeys are and how, you know, affectionate, and like they're just, I don't know, they're like, I see every animal as being like a dog to me now.
Yeah, they're cute.
Yeah, but they're all little like they're your friends, they're your buddies. So yeah, it all for me being vegan stemmed from I got my dog like he just passed away in November. Thank you. I can talk about it without crying, I think. But after I got him, I kind of viewed all animals differently. I would look at a cow and be like, that's a Harry. My dog's name was Harry. I'm like, that's a Harry. Every animal was a Harry. And I think that was kind of what triggered for me, like changing and cutting out meat. And yeah, now I still like, I just can't unsee that. And then once you also like dive deeper and learn about everything, the meat industry, you know, especially here in America, it's like really bad.
Wait. Like,
but once you can't unlearn
US,
things, you know, and ignorance is bliss for sure. If you don't like, you know, go into any of these subjects in depth, you can just be like, oh, it's fine, whatever, keep eating whatever you're eating. But once you start doing that rabbit hole of information, you can't unlearn something or unknow something.
But can guys be vegan?
Guys can. What do you mean? Guys can be vegan? Yes.
No, but like,
because you think that's
healthily.
Yes. I mean, obviously, you have to, like, everyone's different. You have to, you know, learn and figure out what you need. As far as if you need like lots of protein, there's plenty of ways you can get protein as a vegan. You can eat more chickpeas. You can eat. Obviously, I know people don't want to eat too much soy, but there's so many more alternatives now. There's like endless options. It's the best time to be vegan for real. Like, and all like the vegan cheeses. It's pretty easy now.
What scares me about vegan, so when I first moved to LA, I'm from Wisconsin, like vegans don't exist in Wisconsin. Like, we eat just, you know, we get our protein from the dead carcasses of slaughtered animals. Like that's, you know, Wisconsin culture.
Okay.
So I moved to LA, and one of my friends, she's like, oh yeah, like I'm dating this guy, he's a vegan, she says. I'm like, oh really? Like he doesn't eat any meat. She's like, no, he just eats like tofu and like grass and air and stuff. And I swear when I met this guy, I could hear the estrogen in his voice. I swear to God. I swear I could tell. It's like I think his jawline got less like pronounced from like the
I mean, I wish that happened to me. I feel like mine's just getting more pronounced.
I remember just thinking like, this guy is the reason every hotel room has a chair that faces the bed. Like I cannot become this guy ever.
No, there are so many like athletes who are vegan and like Olympians, soccer players, weightlifters. Yes, you just because you're vegan doesn't mean you're not like strong or healthy. Like for men especially, I think that's what you're saying. Like yeah. No, there's plenty of athletes that are vegan and look amazing and are healthy and happy. But like I said, I think everyone's different, and it's up to, you know, you and understanding your own body and knowing what works and what doesn't. And you know, trial and error. For me, being vegan, like I cut out meat like I think it was 8 years ago. I cut out dairy like 10 years ago or more. Yeah, and I was actually pescatarian for a while, and then I watched Seaspiracy, and I was like, shit, I can't eat seafood anymore either. Once I know something, I can't unknow it. So I was like, crap, okay, no more seafood either.
Yeah, someone told me never watch The Game Changer or something like that.
Yeah.
They're like, it'll ruin your appetite for food.
Right. Well, What the Health was one of the documentaries. I don't know if you've seen it, but that was one that got me. One night I was like sitting with my dog, having some wine, watching TV alone, like 10 years ago, whenever it was. And I watched Okja, which is like it's a fictional movie about a genetically modified pig. And it's incredible. It has like Tilda Swinton, really great cast. And then after that, I watched What the Health. And then I went on this like rabbit hole on Instagram and was seeing all these like disgusting videos about like the dog meat festival in Yulin, China. And obviously I'm sitting there with my dog and I was just like correlating all these things to being one. And I was like crying, looking at these videos because it was before they had the caution thing, whatever, the eye where what is it?
Oh yeah, so you can put that you don't
want
to
the
see
sensitive
them.
content.
Exactly. Everything was just coming up and I was like, oh my God, I was seeing like dogs being boiled alive. Sorry, TMI, but like really, really bad stuff. And I was just like, I'm fucking done. And so the next morning, I finally went to sleep that night, really upset and cried my eyes out, woke up and I had all these petitions from change.org about abuse against farm animals. And it was just like the nail like in the coffin. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm done. This is it. And from that moment on, I've never had meat again.
I see.
Yeah. But yeah, don't watch those. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Once you know the information, you can't unknow it. And
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not a vegan, but like I like trees. You know, I do like trees. Like they're pretty sick. You know, they're pretty cool. But,
trees are cool. Yeah.
yeah.
Agreed.
I do think that the food system, they should at least find a way to be less like sociopathic in the way they treat animals.
Yeah, I mean, that's just capitalism. And I feel like America is obviously the leader in that. And that's why it's never going to get better, especially now.
Because there really is a difference between food and food.
Yeah.
For example, like us in Europe,
Oh, you guys got it down.
Yeah.
we do food the right way. Like we have, you know, like beef is grass fed, the animals have a lot of space, they live a happy life, they eat normal food, they're taken care of, and like everything is nice and peaceful. But here it's just like they put animals in tiny little cages and feed them like, I don't know, chemicals.
Some of it is literally like compacted like plastic and waste. And then people are then consuming that.
Exactly.
So you look at like the incidence of cancers and different health issues here in America, and it's like way higher than any other place on the planet.
Well, what's crazy about Europe is like whenever I travel, like if I go to Miami, right? You know, you're like on vacation, you like wake up, you're like, what should we do? Oh, let's grab some food. Like you're always just grabbing food.
Yeah.
So I always gain like 3-5 pounds on vacation. I will go to Europe for like 3 weeks, eat eat all the time, and I'll come back the exact same weight. It's
because
crazy.
our food is healthy.
Yeah.
There's a big
I'm excited.
difference.
I haven't been to Europe in a minute. Actually, no, that's not true. I went to Greece last year, but I really want to go to Italy, especially this year, because I just had to go gluten-free, which really sucks. Now I'm that person who's vegan and gluten-free. It's awful. I know. I have like a disclaimer every time I go to a restaurant, like I'm apologetic to the waiter. But I heard like in Europe you can eat all the pasta, the bread, and it's different. Your body,
it hits different.
So I'm like, yes, I obviously need to go there ASAP because I need
also,
some normal bread.
Also I think maybe for example, like the gluten here in the US, it's not just the natural molecule of the gluten. It's filled with so many more chemicals that we don't even know how to spell.
Yeah.
We don't even know where they come from. Like
They come from the lab.
Yeah, some guys just like
white coat
in the white coat, like mixing things up with like plastic and who knows what, and they just pump it in the food and they're like, here you go.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm in the US, I'm very cautious about the food that I eat because this stuff is scary. Like, wow, it's super sketchy. And actually I've gotten food poisoning so many times here. Like I just eat normal food and I get food poisoning because my body is not used to these chemicals and stuff. So I feel like the US definitely should do something about this.
I've gotten food poisoning from vegan restaurants, which is, I'm not going to name any names, but I got very like it was like a really bad food poisoning within 30-40 minutes of eating at this particular place, and it was like a long time ago. And I remember I was visiting here at the time. I went to CVS just thinking I needed something to like anti-nausea, and I was like going to get on a flight back to Australia that afternoon. And I pulled into CVS. Actually, no, it was the Rite Aid on Fairfax actually, and I had rented a SUV because my friend and I missed our flight home from Vegas. This is okay, I'm going in tangents now, but I had this huge car and I stopped in at the Rite Aid and I went in to get some meds, and I just all of a sudden was like, oh God. And I went into the bathroom and I projectile vomited all over the Rite Aid bathroom, and I was so ill I couldn't even I couldn't even think about trying to clean it. I felt so bad, and I walked out and I didn't even say anything. I was just like trying to get back to my car, and I ended up sleeping in my car in the car park for like, I don't know, 30 minutes or more, because I knew I had to get to my friend's place before to get to my flight. So I was just trying to keep moving, but I was so ill, and it came on within like 40 minutes of eating at this restaurant. But I mean, all I can put it down to is like maybe there was like the water, or like it had been, I don't know, the romaine maybe. I don't know. I feel like lettuce often gets recalled here. I don't know if anyone
in your car.
I slept in the car park for like 30 minutes.
That's what they told me. Sydney ghetto people. They vomit all over the bathroom. You know? That's what they told me.
I mean, it happened, and I'm very honest about these things. It happened from a vegan restaurant, and it never happened at that place again. I did actually eat there a lot since I have eaten there a lot since then, but yeah, I'm not gonna name where it was, but it was like a big one. Yeah, but I will never
And
forget
Australia
that.
is like Europe, or they're more like US?
No, Australia is like Europe for sure. There's a lot
Is
more
it only
regulations.
the US that
Yes.
fucks up all our food?
Yeah,
Is it just
yeah,
us?
it's only
Yes.
the US.
Australia, honestly, I used to go back, especially before I was vegan, and I would eat things, and I'm like, oh my god, it tastes so good, because it was
Yeah.
just like real and like
Yeah.
grown right. It's like everything organic. It's like, oh, it's organic here. I'm like, everything in Australia was organic when I was growing up.
Yeah.
There was nothing like. It's just so strange, and it's so bad that it's okay for people to be eating the non-organic stuff here, which is just covered in crap and pesticides and chemicals.
Yeah.
And I feel it's horrible, and it's really, and I mean, it brings up a whole lot of other subjects with food inequality and whatnot, but it's a real thing here, especially for people who can't afford to buy organic food, which I don't even think the organic food is organic here anymore either.
Yeah, I can't trust them.
No.
Well, the other thing people don't realize is organic doesn't mean healthy. You can use organic pesticides that are really bad for you. But
Right.
they're organic because they were made by a bee or like whatever the fuck. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't necessarily mean it's good.
There's just way too many things trying to kill us at the moment.
Yeah,
It's too much to
Yeah.
keep track of.
I was getting in arguments with people because I was a big, like, I grew up in Wisconsin. Like, we just drank our water out of the tap. Like a man, not all this, oh, put my water in a bottle, like
You mean like a filter through a filter?
no, just out of the tap. It's just water.
Okay.
It's water. You'll survive. It built my immune system. Like I
There's
never got,
fluoride in the water. It's giving you your
never got
necessary.
COVID.
Yeah.
Just my white blood cells just fucking beat the shit out of that because I drank tap water. Now all these Gen Z people like, oh, mommy, put my water in a bottle. Like who the first people who drank water out of a bottle were? Babies. Oh, give me my bottle, mommy. And now all the Gen Z, they're like 30 years old, and they'll go to Costco and buy they fill their trunk with like bottled water, and they only drink water out of a bottle. It's
That makes me
bizarre.
sad because there's also so much plastic, and obviously in every
Yeah.
single bottle, the plastic is like seeping in, and there's like it's carcinogen as well. So you're like nothing is healthy anymore. I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre to me that like imagine being so good at marketing that you are selling people something that's
can get for
not
free.
only free but so free it literally falls from the sky.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
This is this.
But they're just the marketing is just so good, and all the sheep brains out there that are filled with wool, just like a bottle. Oh.
Yeah. Although I don't think we should be drinking the water in LA right now.
Why?
Oh,
Because the fires. And stuff. I heard some stuff
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
that. Maybe
the fires.
I
I
got
mean,
a
I'm
Brita. I got a
concerned
Brita,
about our
you know, I
air
got a
quality
Brita.
too. I don't know. I'm concerned about a lot of things, and I think there's a lot they're not telling us as far as the air quality and
Oh, the air
yeah,
quality
it's
is horrible.
bad. Yeah,
I
there's-
got a little purifier in all my rooms.
I mean, smart, but a lot of people can't afford that. They're like the good ones are like $600 to $1,000, and you do need to have one in every room. So it's like it's really messed up.
Yeah.
It's going to affect people like really long term here at the moment. But speaking of it falling from the sky, it was raining on my way here. So yay!
Really?
Yeah. Was it not raining over here? I drove from the valley. Don't judge.
I don't know. I maybe. Oh, the valley.
I just
Well, the
moved
valley's
there.
like. Have you seen the movie The Lion King?
The original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is how I see the valley. And Simba and Mufasa are like up on Pride Rock, right? And he's like, Simba. He's like, everything the light touches your kingdom. Right? And he's like, see those dark shadowy areas? There's crackhead hyenas. There's homeless people. Like, don't go there. It's dangerous. The valley, half of it is in the light and half of it is in the dark shadowy
I feel
areas.
like you have that back to front. And honestly, I would have said that before I moved there. And I always lived in West Hollywood, like the longest time I've been here.
No,
almost
but I'm
12
saying
years.
it depends. Parts of the valley are the light and parts of the valley are the shadows. This one girl here, she lived like deep in the valley. Like there's like feral children scurrying around the sewers. Like it was
Oh
like
my
so
God.
sketchy. Yeah.
No, I mean, where I am, it's very nice and all like.
What part of the
lovely-
valley?
I'm in Sherman Oaks.
Sherman Oaks is nice.
Yeah, it's all like it's
That's
really
like the
nice.
fake valley. That's like that's
like
not
nice
really.
restaurants,
That's
little
like West
families.
Hollywood extended. They kind of
But
extended
that shit
up the
still
mountain.
happens there. I swear, like the end of last year, I got home from like a really long shoot day. It was like a 12, 13-hour day. And I was so tired and I was just over everything. Obviously, I lost my dog not long before that. And I was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
I went to sleep. I was meant to go to a Christmas party. I just went home, went to sleep. The next day, I get a call from my roommate, and he's like, "Beck, you need to come downstairs." And I was like, "Why?" He's like, your car's been broken into. In Sherman Oaks.
Crazy.
And I go down and my whole driver's side window had been smashed. And I'm like, these motherfuckers, like there's nothing in my car to take. I wish there was, so it made it worthwhile. So I just had to replace my window for no reason. I'm like, it's so frustrating. So it's everywhere, unfortunately. And that's like a really nice, safe, to me, what I thought was like a really nice, safe area. And still shit happens. I kind of got nostalgic driving over here because there was a helicopter with like flashlights. I was like, oh,
You're like, remember the good old days.
It's like it's weird when you like start sleeping and it's quiet at night. Like, I'm very much used to the helicopters over here.
Yeah, America is like, we do it big in every direction. Crime is big. Money is big. The streets are fucking huge.
The country is big. Everything is so
big.
far and
we got
so
Alaska.
big.
It's like half the fucking size of Europe on its own. You know, it's like crazy.
Everything's too big here.
I wanted to ask you selfishly because you're a travel influencer, right?
Yes.
And I have my own opinions on different parts of the world.
Okay, I'm listening.
What are your kind of like best and worst travel spots? And what's your travel spot that's not like the typical Paris, London, but like nobody
Guys,
would know.
Don't go to Paris. It's dead now.
I never liked Paris, but I was
is
worried
dead.
about that.
It was cute before, but now it's dead. Anyways, so I'm not really the type of person who likes to pick favorites because, again, I feel like all the places that I have traveled to are so different and they all have their pros and cons, and every time I had a very different experience, but I liked most of them. And also, I've never really had bad experiences because I feel like I'm just such a happy-go-lucky person. Like, bad things literally don't happen to me. So wherever I go to, no, it really is nice because, you know, sometimes people are like, wow, I traveled to this place and I had a horrible experience, and I traveled there and I have an amazing experience, and the place is the same, but it really comes down to the mindset that you go there with, because I'm like, everything is so nice, everything is so great, I'm super happy, like people are nice, so that's what I experience. But the other person that goes there and had a bad experience, they're like, oh no, I'm so scared, like these people look super sketchy, I'm afraid somebody's gonna rob me, and then they get robbed because that's what they already have in their head.
That's
So
the
it's
same
their
way, the
fault.
energy that you're putting out, I fully believe in that. The energy is like a big thing. Yeah.
So out of all the places that I went to, I had super cool experiences everywhere. But for example, I would say that Ukraine was very interesting. So Ukraine was actually the first place I traveled to by myself. The second...
When was this?
The second I turned... No, it was before the war, obviously.
Yeah.
But the second I turned 18, I bought myself a plane ticket and I went to Ukraine. And wow, the people there are so nice. They're so sweet. They're so welcoming. I became friends with like half the building I was staying at, and we're still friends to this day.
I love that.
And
Are they okay?
they're okay. They escaped the war, and now everybody's like spread all over the world.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen in like years, but we still stay in contact. So that's cute. But yeah, I had such a great experience because there, first of all, it's so cheap. It's actually insane. Like I was driving from one place to another, and it took me like 20 minutes in the taxi, and it cost me like €1. A 20-minute taxi drive was €1, and I was like, I love this place. And the food is so good, and you eat, like, you order the whole table full of food, and it costs you like €5.40. And I was like, what?
Wow.
So, yeah, that was super fun. But okay, then the war happened, and now it's kind of...
I'm a big fan of more like Eastern Europe, not like, oh, Germany, France.
Yeah.
It feels like when I went to France, when I went to Germany, it just felt like America, except they have accents. And it was like I didn't feel like I'm in a different culture. It felt kind of the same. But when I go to Eastern Europe, like when I went to Lithuania, when I went to like Budapest, it felt like the culture, it felt like I'm actually learning something as a human being by being there and seeing how people treat different situations and how people live their lives. Versus like France, it's like, they hate Americans. Yeah. Like, first of all, it's just as expensive as like LA. It's like the same shit. Where I go to Lithuania, they're like, "You're from LA? Do you know Brad Pitt?" Like they love us. Like they think I'm a celebrity. You know, like it's great. And everything's way
funny.
cheaper. It's like, it just seems like, why do people get sucked into, I think all their sheep brains are just like, oh, like I saw on TikTok that Paris is the best. I'm going to Paris. You know what I mean? Where it's like,
I love Paris, so I don't want to shit on it. But I also am Australian, so I would get the question basically every place I went, oh, are you American? I'd be like, no, I'm Australian.
you're
They're
like, no.
No, don't associate me
rope
with
me in
them.
with those
But
fuckers.
they get so happy when you say you're Australian. I'm like, oh my God, I felt so bad for Americans at that point. But I don't know. I haven't been to Paris in probably a long time, but it's not the same. I have friends that live there. Friends, like actually one of my best friends from Australia, she was living in LA, realized she was never going to meet a man here, and was like, she had dual citizenship with between Paris and Australia. So she was like, I'm going to just move to Paris. Moved there within the year. She met the love of her life. Now they're like, I don't know if they're married, but they have like 2 children, gorgeous. They have the best lives. They travel everywhere. And I haven't been there since she's had her baby. So I really need to go visit. But I don't know. I feel like it's like what you said. It's what you make it. And if you go with a good attitude, anywhere is going to be great.
I just had a bad experience first time in Europe. That I went with my girlfriend at the time. She'd always wanted to go to Europe. So I'm like, yeah, let's do a Europe trip, like blah, blah, blah. And the day before the trip, she hands me this like binder. Because this is like before like social media and notes and your phone was like a big thing. I'm like, babe, what is this? She's like, oh, it's our plan for the trip. And I open it. It's like 8 a.m.
Oh, that's not fun.
It's like 9:30 breakfast, blah, blah, like the entire. No. And the crazy thing was, she did modeling in real life. She would wake up at like noon. She'd be 45 minutes late to every. She was the least organized person ever.
She just wanted to get a lot done.
I was starting my business, so I was like dialed in. I'm like, now you want to be organized? When we're on vacation, I'm trying to relax. Now you want to be fucking organized?
Yeah, that's the worst. I always want to just go with the flow when I travel. I don't know about you. Are you like really regimented when you travel?
So it depends. If I go to a place and I have a limited time and there are some special things I want to see, I definitely like fit them in the schedule. But I do love to freestyle. I'm a super freestyle person.
Yeah.
Like I can literally just buy a plane ticket tomorrow, fly to some random country and go to some random place and meet some people and become friends with them.
Yeah. Have you been to Brazil?
I haven't, but I will
you
do
would
that
love
definitely.
Brazil.
I love Brazil.
That's the vibe. Like you go there, you'll meet people, they'll take you on an adventure. I lived in Brazil for a year when I was
that's
a
so
very long
cool.
time ago. I was 16. I was an exchange student.
Oh wow.
But yeah, I had a crazy year and it was just like the best people, the best, like I don't know, the culture's amazing, the music, the food.
If you have blue eyes in Brazil.
Oh yeah, they would honestly.
Game over.
It was crazy. Guys would come up to me like, "Seu olhos estão azul, eu quero beijar você." I'm like, "No, you can't kiss me because my eyes are blue." Like, no, that's like my eyes are not gonna, change color. Yeah, you can't just kiss me because they're blue. It was so funny, but I mean, yeah, the people are great. You'll go on like amazing adventures. You have to go to Brazil.
I love adventures.
Especially
Honestly, I have
Brazil.
crazy adventures everywhere I go, like in every country. And I always meet like the coolest people and it's always a super fun adventure.
What's one of your crazy adventures?
Wow, there's so many. I don't even know which one to talk about. Wait, okay, let me go through the files in my brain. For example,
You want me to say one first?
Let's hear it.
While you think?
Yeah.
Or you get, okay. I went to Jamaica one time.
Ooh.
And my girlfriend at the time, she was like, oh, I want, like, Zach, you always plan everything. I want to book this trip. Like, I got this, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, dope. Like, you got this, babe. And she books this resort. And she didn't realize it was like adults resort. She's like, yeah, I don't want kids there. But it was like adults resort.
Like, is it nude? Like,
Nude, like, so half the resort was like the normal. And then the other half was like the nude part. But if you were on the nude part, you have to be naked.
I think I've been to the same place.
No, like literally, if you tried to like walk over there with clothes on, they'd be like, yeah, man, you have to take off your clothes. Like security would come up. Like,
yeah,
you had to...
that's the rules.
And the problem was, like most of the food was like shitty resort food, right? But there's this one steak place all the way on the nude side, like edge of the resort, right next to the sandals next to it. So anytime like we wanted food, she was like, can you get me some steak, babe? And I had to fucking strip down, walk past all these fucking...
That's hilarious.
And it was never like hot, sexy singles on the beach.
No, it's
like,
old people.
Old people, like
Yeah.
everybody looks like a bowling ball stacked on top of an exercise ball with like two sandals on the bottom, you know? And their sandals are like begging for mercy, you know what I mean? Like it was like not the vibe like you would expect from like a nude beach.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's
like,
cringe.
yeah, that was my like role the entire time, just getting food for us and coming back.
Wow.
But it was fun, honestly.
take
I kind of
one
liked
for
it.
the
It was
team.
freeing. You know, it was freeing.
Yeah.
I'm not mad about it.
Well, apparently you were the hottest one on the beach, so you were loving it.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. I was like, now I know what it's like to be a girl at the club. Everybody's staring.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a piece of the action, you know?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so I remembered one crazy travel story, and it's very crazy, but I still took it in a positive way because I'm just so positive. Like I see everything in a good way.
You know what you remind me of? I'll let you get back to your story. Have you ever seen Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah.
You know when Jack Sparrow, he was like blindfolded or something, and he's just like walking, and there's like bombs going off, and he's like about to fall off the ledge, and then something just like comes in, like he like walks on it. You know, I feel like you walk through life like that. This shit just like fucking saves you.
Yeah.
No, that's so me. It's super funny.
I need to get you some pepper spray before you leave. To make sure
I
you
mean, no, I just
stay
want to hang
safe
out with
there.
you because I just have had a run of bad things happen. Like right now, I have my hand bandaged. I have 10 stitches under here because my bathroom door, the shower door, shattered on me in the bathroom for no apparent reason. Apparently, I'm cursed. I need to hang out with you.
Yeah,
I need some of your
some good vibes. I'll give you some after. Okay, so I was on a trip to Turkey with a group of friends, and it was super fun. And but I don't know, we had like a villa together, and the first day I arrived, I stepped outside and I was barefoot because it was nice and warm, and I stepped on a shard of glass and I cut the bottom of my feet open.
Thank God something like that happened to her. I just
No, and it's so funny because there's a picture of me sitting on the floor with my leg up and it's like bleeding and I'm smiling like this because I'm like, wow, like that's so crazy. Why did this happen to me? But I'm like, okay, I'll just put a band-aid on it and I'll be fine. Like everything's great. And then I'm kind of limping like the whole trip. And then towards the end of the trip, me and one of my friends, we take a taxi to go to like a different area to do like, I don't know, shopping or whatever. And we're driving in the taxi and we get into a car accident, but not like a huge one. But the driver just like drives into another car. So we just like do this. But it was a small car. So I was sitting right behind the driver and his seat was already like against my knees. So when we bumped into the other car, the seat went into my knees. And it hurt super bad. And I was like, wow, I do not feel my knees. But we had to get out of the car and get a new taxi. So then I was limping on my other leg because one had a cut and one, like, my knee got hurt. And I had a flight the next day. And my knee was, like, super swollen. And I put ice on it. And I was like, can I make it to the airport? Like, will I survive? And everybody was like, no, like, you should just chill here. And I was like, no, but I have other plans because I'm supposed to go to Estonia, change the clothes in my bag, and then fly to Switzerland to see my friend. And everybody was like, what? You're crazy. And I was like, no, it's okay. Like, I can handle it. So I'm, like, limping to the airport. And
that's the worst because they're really long corridors everywhere.
Yes. So we were, like, in the south of Turkey. So first I had to fly to Istanbul. And then from there, I had to fly to Estonia. And I was in the airport and I was trying to walk and I just couldn't anymore. Like my legs were not functioning. So I was just standing there and I saw a worker. I asked him like, can I get like a wheelchair or something? Like, can you drive me to the gate, please? And they were like, oh, the wheelchairs are like out of the airport and to the left. And I was like, okay, but I cannot walk. So like, can you help me? And they were like, no, sorry. And I was like, okay. So I was just standing there and I was like, my flight leaves soon and I cannot walk. And then some random guy walks up to me and he's like, are you okay? And I just look at him and I started crying and I was like, no, I'm really not okay. I need some help. And he was like, wow, like what happened? Let me help you. So he got the cart for the luggage and I was sitting on it. And then he had like the, what's it called? Like the Band-Aid thingy, like you put on your knee, like a compress.
Strap?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. He had that in his bag. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, and then he had like painkillers and he bought me food and then he took me to my gate and turns out we were on the same flight and he was like a humanitarian worker going to a place to help people. So I was like, wow, thank you so much. Like, this is so nice. And then he talked with the workers and organized it so that when I land in Estonia, somebody will get me with a wheelchair. And I was like, that is so nice. Wow. So I land in Estonia and with a wheelchair. And I was like, okay, I have 24 hours before my next flight. And I was like, what do I do? So I was thinking, okay, I'm going to go to the ER and see what they say about my leg. So I tried to call a friend to pick me up, but they didn't answer. So I just took a taxi and I went to the ER and I was sitting. And then after a few hours, my friend calls back and they're like, hi, yeah, sorry, I was busy. What's up? And I was like, I'm in the ER. Like, can you come here? And they were like, no, what happened? Like, oh my God. And I was like, no, come here and I will tell you. So my friend comes and he sees me in a wheelchair and he's like, Maria, what happened? I tell him the story and he's like, oh my God, that's crazy. So he's waiting there in the ER with me for like 3 more hours. Then I get to the doctor and then they're like, wow, like you should really rest and your knee is like super swollen. Like thankfully nothing is broken, but it's swollen. So you should rest. And I was like, I have a flight in like 12 hours though. And I didn't tell the doctor though, because they would have told me like, you shouldn't go. But then I was like, okay, no, I'll be fine. And then I went home. I changed the clothes in my bag. I went to sleep because my friend was coming from New York. So they were already on their flight to Switzerland. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to bail on them because they're going to arrive to Switzerland and get a message from me like, oh, I'm not coming. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Nothing holds you back.
No, literally, like nothing holds me back. So the next day I go to the airport and I ask for a wheelchair again. And then I hop on the plane. I arrive to Switzerland and then they pick me up with the little like cart thingy that has like the flash on it, you know, like a police car, but this one is yellow and it's just like beep, beep, beep. And I'm sitting in the back and then I arrived to my friend and my friend is like, why do you have a knee strap and why did they like drive you here with a little car? And then I explained the whole story and my friend is like, are you crazy? Why did you come? And I was like, I was not gonna bail on you. Like, what do you mean? My friend was like, wow, you're crazy. And I still had like the time of my life and a super fun trip and everything was great.
I had a similar thing happen on my last trip when I went to Greece. I went swimming off the rocks for my friend. My friend was getting married there. So they had like this beautiful like oceanfront property that they were getting married at. And we went there it was like the bridal brunch or whatever. And we all went swimming off the rocks afterwards. And everyone was getting cut up off these rocks. And for some reason, I thought that wouldn't happen to me. No, it happened.
God complex. Yeah.
I'm like, no. They've already figured it out. They know the way to go in. So I was like, I'll follow you in because they like obviously had already planned out the right way to go in. And so I go in and there was like the tide and everything was coming up, whatever. So I ended up messing myself up pretty bad and like cutting my foot. But I didn't realize how bad it was. And then like a couple of days later, I guess there was part of the rock or coral or whatever I had like stood on that was still in my foot. And I ended up staying an extra day in Greece and it was crazy. We're in Mykonos. It's my friend's wedding. It was like the craziest 5 days. It was like a bunch of Aussies. We're wild. A lot of things that I can't talk about on here. And
not until one more shot.
And then I stayed an extra day and I was going to go visit one of my best friends in London. And so I had to leave after I stayed an extra day. Mm-hmm. And like you, I was at the airport and I could barely walk. I didn't realize there was something in my foot. And it was so hard to walk. And I was like struggling, but I just kept, charging on. I had to get my flight to London. I haven't seen my friend, one of my best friends in years. So I managed to get there despite how much pain I was in. He picks me up and I'm like, we have to go to urgent care or somewhere. Like they need to get something out of my foot. But I also had no voice. I had lost my voice from like partying for 5 days. And so he takes me to the urgent care in London, which by the way, don't waste your time. They don't do anything for you there. It's like not like America where they'll like give you whatever you want, give you a steroid injection so you can speak again. No, none of that. I'm there, I'm waiting for someone to see me. They're like, oh, we need to x-ray your foot. I'm like, you need to x-ray my foot to take out whatever the fuck is in there? They're like, yeah. I'm like, no, can't you just like get it out? And they're like, we can't do that. We can't touch you. I'm like, what the fuck is this place? And also I have no voice. My friend's like, can't you just give her like a steroid injection so she can speak? I haven't seen him in years. I'm in London for the first time in years. We have like a bunch of stuff planned, like fun stuff to do. And I had I can't even tell you how much I had no voice. And So they didn't touch me. We go home. We stop at a store on the way home. He picks up a bunch of stuff. We go home, get to bed early. The next morning, get up. I walk and like hobble my way to get coffee while he was working. Come back. He's like, okay, you ready? And I was like, no, yes. He's like, let's soak your foot. I'm going to get it out because you can't walk. We can't do anything unless we get this out of your foot. And I was like, okay. So I soaked my foot for like 10 minutes, and then he's like bought these like brand new tweezers, like whatever the fuck else he has. And and he's like telling me to count because the pain is so bad. And he was like digging into my foot to get out whatever was in there. And after like 3 times of me going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like trying to like count through the pain, he eventually gets it. And we can hear like that kind of noise, like he's reached something finally. And then he pulls it out and he's like, I think there's more in there still. It's like this little black like rock or coral or something. He goes back in. I'm like screaming, and then pulls more out. And then he's like, okay, I think that's it. And so finally, like, I'm like, okay, great, I can walk. Still was in so much pain, I could barely walk. We go to the store. He's like one of my oldest, dearest friends. He's like, I'm going to get you some shoes you can actually get your foot into. Buys me a pair of shoes I can walk in, get a dress. We go out. We had like this big, massive night. It was so fun. I had no voice, but I was just like, I don't know, communicating with like hand signals and stuff to people. I was at a dinner that people I'd never met, like these amazing people. And yeah, ended up having like, then the next day we went to this amazing place called, God, what was it called? It was like up in like the countryside, Estelle Manor. It's this beautiful like countryside manor. I felt like I was at Downton Abbey, and like I'm like kind of hobbling still at this point, and we just had the best time. It was when the World Cup was on for the soccer, and we watched England lose. But yeah, same thing. I couldn't walk, but you got to just keep going when you're on you have to make the best of the trip, and suck up the pain. But yeah, my friend was a doctor for 30 minutes and helped me walk again.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a couple crazy stories. Do you guys believe in manifestation?
Yes. 100%.
Really?
I'm trying to do more of that. And while we're speaking about that right now, the planets tonight is like the peak of 7 planets aligning in our solar system. The 8th one will align. Mercury is the last one that will align next month. And this is apparently a very like strong time to be like, manifesting things, speaking like your truth, whatever you want to happen out loud, speaking good about yourself. Like this is when you do it right now. Like it's like a really strong energetic time apparently that we are living in. I mean, there's so much crazy stuff happening right now. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But did you guys hear that? The planets
No.
aligned right now?
No, I never
all of them.
heard that.
It's like a celestial event.
Well,
you can go out and look at it.
So I 100% believe in manifestation, and very much the universe brings you what you put out if you're a hot girl. But it doesn't work for ugly people. It doesn't work for guys. It just doesn't work. It's like we've tried it.
That's the negativity
It's only
that's taking over.
That's not negativity.
No, listen. No, it doesn't work like that.
It does.
No, because
Okay.
the people that are like, oh no, manifestation doesn't work, it's because they keep telling themselves it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I know
How come?
so many different people who are like manifesting their dream life, and they're not a hot chick. Like they're a guy.
I've never met a guy or an ugly girl who can manifest. I've looked like okay,
You really searched
hot
for a
girls.
lot.
I've seen them manifest private jet, Tulum, fucking yachts, mega yacht. Like I've seen hot girls manifest crazy shit. Ugly people, I think you just have to like get a job and just like work. The universe is not going to give. The universe is like, better go work doubles at the dirt factory just to make ends meet.
No. It's all in the head. Like there's this movie called The Secret. Have you guys
I've
seen
not
it?
seen it, but it's also based on a book, right?
Yes, exactly. And this movie, it's like, okay, you guys need to watch it because first it will open your eyes and it will make you realize things. And in this movie, there's a guy, not a hot girl, a guy.
Wait, but it's a movie, right?
But
It's based on like real people and real things.
it's a book. It's like, I didn't Oprah, like she was like all for it like years ago.
Okay.
The Secret, and like lived by the
Yeah,
secret.
so real people. And so there's this guy that was flying his plane and then he crashed, destroyed his whole spine and his whole body and everything. And he woke up in like a hospital bed and he couldn't move or speak or walk or eat or breathe or anything. Like he was like destroyed. And then the only way he could communicate was by blinking his eyes. So the doctors gave him like an alphabet, and they were like, okay, if you blink like this, it means this letter. So he was communicating to the doctors, and he told them, by the end of the year, I will walk out of this hospital. And they were like, haha, no. And the guy, because he believed in it and he manifested it, he was healing super fast. And in 1 year, he healed from everything. And he actually walked out of that hospital by himself, even though his spine and everything was like destroyed. But if you really believe in something, you can make it happen. It's all in the mindset.
I've been like, okay, so I wasn't always like the biggest believer in manifesting and stuff like that, but more recently I have been enlightened in the manifestation and what it can bring and what you can do. But it's also, I'm going to go into another conspiracy theory. And it's like that we're living in a simulation. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I think it's very plausible.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
probably.
like honestly, like huge scientists, like people who have like studied this stuff forever, like it's very plausible that we are living in a simulation. Who knows what the simulation is exactly for, or like what dynamic of a simulation it is. If it's like, it can be like a million different things. But the fact that you're apparently like, you can tell your brain to like heal or do things that if you don't do that, it doesn't happen. Like, and there's like evidence of this like happening. So I am now going to be manifesting the shit out of everything, because I've worked my ass off my whole life. I've always only taken care of myself. Like no one's taking care of me. I'm never with a guy for money. I always, work my ass off. I've always worked really hard, which is, something I'm super proud of. And now I want it to like, pay off. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to start changing it. And I think for the longest time, I was scared to kind of say what I wanted, because I think when you say what you want, it's like, oh, that's what I want. And if you don't get it, you're like more disappointed. And I think also like being a model and actress, so you're like let down constantly. You don't book like, more than 50% of the things that you go for. So I've just always been just like, oh, it's okay. Like I'm not going to get it, whatever. You tell yourself that to like kind of get through things. But that's like the wrong mindset. You need to be like, I am going to get that. I am going to do this. And I think it's like all about switching up, how you talk to yourself and what you want, and actually like, being vocal about what you want. So this year I've decided I'm going to be more vocal about those things. And because for the longest time I wasn't, but I've seen it work for so many people, and I really am kind of starting to think that we are in a simulation. So you know what? I'm going to try and control the simulation. It's like the Matrix is going to work for me. It's happening.
Yeah, no, really, because life is exactly what you make it. If you feel like life is just a fun game and you have all the cheat codes, that's exactly what your life is like. Yeah. But if you're like, oh my God, life is so hard, I'm such a victim, bad things are always happening to me, then guess what? Yeah. That's what your life is going to be like. Yes.
Let me tell you a story.
Okay.
Have you guys ever heard of, I don't know if I should tell you this or not.
Why are you looking around? Is there something in the tree?
It's better for the story. Dark side manifestation.
Oh.
So like Star Wars, like the dark side of the force is like the strongest and shoot lightning out of their fingers. The light side is like, ooh, let's all be happy together. Kumbaya, right?
Right.
So what I did is I used dark side manifestation. So instead of picturing, picture success, picture money, picture all these things, I did the opposite. I pictured, imagine I was just broke the rest of my life. Because I grew up poor. My dad was a gym teacher. So like we didn't have money. I was like, imagine just pulling up to some girl's house in like a Honda Corolla or something like that, and just, come on, babe, I got the coupon book. It's half price Tuesday at Applebee's. Like, imagine that life. And every day I would imagine that. And it made me so scared that was going to be my future, that I would just wake up at 6 a.m. and fucking grind.
Right.
And like, I would tell the universe, I'd be like, fuck you, universe. Instead of being like, universe, please help me, please.
You're like, I'm gonna do the
I'm fucking
opposite.
taking this shit for myself. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just feel like people give the universe credit for the shit that they did. Like, don't give the universe credit,
it's all you. It's the person. But
yeah.
It's just like how you take it. Everybody takes it in a different way. Because I'm like, the universe loves me, but I know it's just because I'm a lovely person. So it's not the universe. It's me.
I love you. I actually do. I love you.
You have great energy. Yeah. You do have great energy.
Thank
you. How old are you? You're very confusing.
You're not supposed to ask a girl how old she is.
Yeah.
You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
I like to keep it a big secret because nobody can ever tell.
Well,
so.
you seem like you're like late 20s, but you look like you're like 19 with a fake ID. Like, I don't know whether to talk about like investing or like, you know, how many times we can.
No,
flip
we
the water
can
bottle
we can
over
talk
to
about
wind up the
investing.
thing, you know what I mean, and record it for TikTok. Like, it's
We can talk about investing. Yeah. What stocks do you have?
mostly index funds. Yeah.
Oh, index
that's
funds
smart.
are good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't do like individual companies.
No, not really. Like,
What about Tesla though? It had huge
I love
growth last
Tesla
year.
for sure. But to me, so if you do the research on it, 99% of people who try to beat the S&P 500, which is just broad-based index fund, you make 8 to 12% a year. Most people don't beat it because whatever they sell at the wrong time or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's like
And I
S&P
mean-
500, a little bit of crypto, you know, keep life a little bit interesting.
Yeah, and Tesla is already in the S&P 500, so
Yeah, so I
We're
guess
good.
I do own some Tesla.
yeah. Oh, that's cool. So yeah, you see, we can talk about stocks also.
Interesting. What's the? I'll ask both of you guys this. What's the youngest and oldest you've dated in relation to your age at the time?
I know exactly who was the oldest, but I don't know how old exactly he was at the time. He, don't want to go into too much detail, but I guess he was like, he had to be at least 25 years older than me.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like a well-known actor.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What about you?
So I also had a pretty big age gap. I'm not gonna go into too much detail either.
By the way, I don't think it's a bad thing.
No,
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing at
But
all.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I generally would not want to date someone that much older than me, like especially if I wanted to have longevity in that relationship. Just because, you know, like having a family and things, I would want my partner to be around, like, you know, for the
For a
entirety
long
of like
time,
watching our
yeah.
kids grow up, and yeah.
It isn't. So I used to own a company in the modeling industry.
I want to hear her age gap though. What was it?
Oh, are you gonna say the number?
So yeah, it was also around 20 years.
20, yeah.
Yeah.
I could have. I don't really know how old he was. It could have been closer to 30 years age gap, but okay. He looked great.
No, it's
Yeah.
He was
here's my
like
opinion
very
on it. Here's my
fit.
opinion. When I had my company in the modeling industry, I sold it recently. But when girls would first come in, you know, 18, 19, 20, they would always go through what we would call like hot guy phase. And they would always date some young hot guy. They all look like brothers. Like they they had the same haircut. They had the same Temu dangly earring off the TikTok shop. You know what I mean? It was all the same, right? They looked like it was like Star Wars Attack of the Clones. But the most beautiful girls, when they were 21, 22, 23, it's like they'd always be dating some dude that like if you like dropped off your UPS package, you'd be like, oh, he looks like kind of like that kind of guy. But he would always be extremely successful or extremely charismatic or have his shit together, mature. And it almost felt like girls would like go through hot guy phase, have a little bit of fun, and then kind of get bored with it. And it's like they wanted something more of kind of like substance. You know what I mean?
I always dated creatives. I'm a sucker for anyone that's like creative, musicians. I like have no musical like talent whatsoever. So I'm always like in awe of someone who can like play an instrument or play all the instruments or sing or like, you know, I'm an actress, but like not so much actors. I really don't like actors.
I'm a
But
piano player, actually.
You are?
Yeah, asking for a friend, but just
No,
just
but
letting
I
you know.
noticed you have a piano.
That's
Can I
what I do
play
for a
it
living.
later?
This is a side hustle for me.
Oh.
Yeah, I play on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, covers, that kind of thing. That's my
Got
main
you.
thing.
Well, see, I was always a sucker for creatives, and not all creatives are.
Creatives are the best. We're the best.
But they're more often than not like a little more troubled and like, you know, there was always
It's
they weren't
am
the
I
best
troubled?
relationships. They weren't the best relationships. I was in a lot of like
they're
emotionally
fun.
abusive,
But they're fun.
sometimes
Oh.
physically
Oh.
abusive relationships.
Wait,
yeah.
no, that's not good.
No,
that's not
and
good.
it's like, and I don't know. I'm someone like I come from a complicated family, and I think that I have a lot of empathy, and I think people like kind of like can see that and prey on that. I think those types of people like that's what they want, that's what they look for, and I found myself caught in like relationships where because I always like want the best for the person that I'm with, especially
you
like
seem like that kind of
yeah.
person,
So I would like
honestly.
do anything for them. I'm like very loyal, ride or die, 1,000%, and yeah, and then you get stuck in this awful like cycles. So that's,
Did you have a tough time growing up? Did you have a
no,
troubled childhood?
not so much. My siblings had issues, and as a result of that, I think like maybe for a period I would like see partners or guys and like think that I could fix them or help them. And I think that was like kind of my downfall in a lot of those relationships.
And did it stem from you having to take care of people as a kid? Like, did you kind of have to grow up fast?
I was the
and take
baby.
care?
Like, so my siblings were older. My parents are amazing. They're still together. My mom's like my best friend. She's amazing. She's like an angel. She's, you know, helped raise my sister's children. She's incredible. Like my two eldest niece and nephew live with my parents.
Okay.
And I think like when I was younger, there was a time where like, yeah, I was there and I was like taking my nephew to school, making him breakfast, doing stuff like that. And like, obviously I could cherish those memories so much. He's my, you know, love of my life. He's amazing. But yeah, I think that kind of does affect you in an unknown way as you like get older. And yeah, and I think that I was definitely going into relationships and like wanting to just, you know, help these guys and fix them and make them happy and make life better and you know, love on them and give them everything. So I'm super affectionate, super loving. And nothing I did was ever going to change that for them. It was all the work that they needed to do, which is like back to what you said earlier. Like, no, so many people have to do work on themselves. And I think the work never ends. I mean, even for people who think they have it together, you're constantly working. For me, I'm not in therapy. My girlfriends are my therapists. They know everything. You know, you tell them everything and they're like brutally honest, like most of the time. And, you know, give you the best advice. Cause like, you know, most of us have been through one thing or another. And when you're combined, you really like you're stronger together. But yeah, I think for a long time I was making bad choices and staying in relationships that I shouldn't have stayed in and like staying like way longer than I should have as well, thinking that I still could like, I know I didn't want to abandon anyone. I didn't want to like play into that for them as well. Cause like a lot of people, the reasons that they are the way they are is because of things that happened in their childhood and things that they went through. So yeah, I just never wanted to do that to somebody, but you ultimately in the end have to realize that this is your life, you know, you only live one, maybe, who knows, but you know, this is my life right now. And like, you have to make choices that are going to give you the best, happiest life that you can have. And I decided a couple of years ago to be, you know, to take myself or to put myself first. And I hadn't done that for a really long time. And so now I've been doing that.
Do you feel like, because, you know, being that caring of a person where you seem like you have a very genuine soul and you really want to help people. I really mean that.
Yeah.
And so at one extent, that's like a beautiful part of who you are as a person. But then another extent, like do you feel like you need to like turn off that part of yourself ever so you don't get in situations that end up bad for you? You know what I mean?
Not anymore. I feel like I've learned enough, and it's like, you know, the universe, we bring it to back to the universe. I think that it sent me the same like challenge multiple times because I didn't get it the first time. And I just kept doing it over and over until I was like, okay, you have to learn from this. I think I finally did. So now I think I'm in a place where I can make smarter choices and better decisions based on the things that I've experienced without losing that part of myself. And I think that, you know, you can keep that and be with someone who is respectful and loving and have a great relationship. Unfortunately, I chose wrong before. And I think that I don't think I have to turn that part of me off. I just think I'm smarter now and you have to just learn from your experiences. And I think that's what I'm doing.
And do you feel like those tough relationships almost helped you grow as a person? Like you learned
Definitely. I think that as much as like in those relationships I was putting the other person first, I think that goes for like other things in my life, my career, everything else. I was never really like I said, I was scared to say what I wanted because I didn't want to like not get it and then be disappointed or like think I was a failure. And I think there's like a part of me, also being Aussie, we're very competitive. You don't want to fail at something, but like when you're doing what you love and like taking risks, I don't think you're ever failing. And I think that's what I've kind of learned over the last couple of years.
You know what's funny is I'm very good at reading people. I just always have been ever since I was young. And I swear when I first met you, when you first walked in, I could tell that even though you come off as this very like kind of alpha female. Like,
I'm not.
I could honestly tell. I was like, I know she has a sweet side. Like,
yeah.
in there.
No, I'm very sweet. I'm just a big personality. I'm like, you know, I
Just-
I like to have
it's
fun.
very deep inside, you know.
No,
like,
it's not even very deep
inside your psyche.
inside.
Yeah, yeah.
It comes out really like easily once I'm like, you know, around people and like, yeah, once we have like a more in-depth conversation, you're gonna see it. It's just like I think at first and like, you know, immediate when you cast immediate judgments, it's like what you see is like me being, oh, cool. I'm like bubbly and fun and that's how I really am. But there's also like people are layered, and I think that you can't like think that they're not or think that they're like one dimension of what you see when you meet someone. Everyone's gone through something. Everyone's, you know, and that's another thing I've realized. Like everyone is going through shit. We've all like everyone. Just like,
Did you have like a rock bottom moment or a moment that you're just like your life kind of flipped?
yes. Yeah.
What happened?
In a previous relationship, it got to a really bad place, and I think that's when I wanted to change things around with that person and make it work, and it didn't, and it was never going to. So I left. I came back to LA with nothing. This is like less than 2 years ago, and literally nothing. I left. I went to a different city for almost 2 years. And I came back here with nothing and started over. And I think that is that moment where I was like, enough. I'm going to do things and just go after what I want and be happy. I deserve happiness. Everyone deserves happiness. However you find it, you go for it. Don't stay in something that is, you know,
Not
serving you. Yeah. And it's really easy to say that, and I did it for a really long time, and I think I made excuses, and you know, you think like, oh, time and age and things. I've always been someone who's been really afraid of like time, and I think that also was like this weird thing that I had to kind of overcome, and getting older and you know everything else, and I don't regret. I'm really proud of coming back here with nothing and starting over and doing well and succeeding and I'm, you know, so busy and things have been amazing, and it's because I chose that for myself. I think it's a choice.
I think it's very difficult to do, but you seem like, you know, you've been crushing it.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Try.
Good for you. Yeah. Did you ever go through a lot of stuff?
Wow,
in your childhood?
many times.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's what life is all about. You have ups and then you have downs, and then you learn, you become a better person, and then you continue. So there have been a lot of crazy moments in my life where I have been like so at rock bottom, and I'm just like, what is going on? Like everything was just so amazing, and now everything is so bad, and like I can't even think straight anymore. But I think I've always had this little special feeling in me that I just trust the process. Like no matter what it is, I just have this big trust and belief that everything's gonna be fine, everything is okay. And this is what has really helped me go through all of these things. And for example, heartbreak is a huge thing. When I was in high school, it was so funny because I had two best friends. And we were like, the three of us were like so close. We were like the same person. Like we were so in sync. Everything was super cool, super fun. And then one day, one of them just decided that they were not going to be my friend anymore. And I was like, what? And it was so heartbreaking. And it came like out of nowhere. And I was super heartbroken. And I was so sad about it. And then the other one was also like, yeah, I'm going to dip. And I was like,
really?
What? Yeah. And
did they give you a reason?
No. They just left. But
just kind of
now I realized it was the best thing
for you
that could have happened, because my life, I really didn't need them in my life, and my life got better after.
Sometimes it does that for you, like life will do that for you. I've experienced that recently.
Yeah, for a very good reason.
Yeah.
So of course at that moment it hurt. Like I was so heartbroken. I couldn't even focus on school. I was just like sad every day, and I was like, wow, like what is wrong with me that they left? But I realized it wasn't me, it was them. Because they had like an ego thing. So because I was like shining so much light, I guess it just made them jealous. And then they had their ego thing, and they were like, no, okay, like she's too positive, we need to cut her out.
I see. That's why you didn't do well in LA, because you are so positive, you are a bright light, and I think a lot of people want to like shit on that here and like are jealous.
Maybe, yeah.
And I see that happening to you here. There's a lot of people who don't want to see that like positivity
because I just want the best for everyone. Like I want to be my friend's like biggest hype man and be like, you're gonna succeed, like everything is great, like you got this, and they see that my life is always great, and even if bad things happen to me, I can still go through them with a smile. Like I don't let anything take me down, and I think that really bothers some people because they're like struggling with their mindset. And I've always tried to help people, but the problem is you cannot help people if they don't ask for your help.
Or if they don't want to help themselves,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but thankfully I've always been able to help myself and get through these things and become better.
No, I feel that. I think that like, I don't know, like the last year or so, and I think after what I like went through a couple of years ago and came back here and started over from scratch, I have approached relationships differently. And I think the same thing like what you're talking about in school with these like girls who just like cut you out. I've had situations with friends in this last like year, especially where something happens and I'm just like, no, we don't align on that anymore. That's not who I am. That's not what I want to be. Like I give so much, like you just want to have that reciprocated. And when you're not receiving that, it's like, goodbye. Like, why?
Exactly. Because in the moment, it always feels so sad when people leave your life and you're like, oh no, like they were my best friend.
You can mourn the friendship.
For 10 years.
Yeah, but you can mourn the friendship and realize that it's like you had that time and now you're going on to something else. Exactly. It's like the next chapter.
Yeah, and that's okay because life is all about moving and, things change. Like the only constant thing in life is change. Like there's nothing that stays exactly the same forever. So either you can adapt to it and be like, okay, I'm gonna accept change, or stay stuck on things and suffer. So, yeah,
definitely. Let's hear this question.
No, I'm
intimidating.
I'm just curious because I went through something kind of similar in my kind of high school experience, but I'm just curious. What about, because most people that went through something like that, they become very jaded. They become very much, fuck everybody, it's their fault, blaming other people, blah, blah, blah. But you seem to kind of get through it with like a positive attitude, which is interesting.
Yeah, in the moment when it happened, of course, I was not positive at all. I was very depressed and I was so confused. And I started to think, is something wrong with me or is something wrong with them or like what is going on? But as I kind of started working through that and reflecting back on what it could have been and why it happened, I really just understood that we didn't align anymore and I just needed to move on with my life, because if I would have stayed friends with them, I would have never achieved any of the things that I have now, because they were, like not very ambitious and didn't really care about anything. So if I would have stayed in that vibe, I wouldn't have made anything of my life. So it had to happen. And so I'm very grateful that it did. And now like I don't hold a grudge. I don't have any bad feelings. Like if I ever see them again, I will say hello and ask them how they are. And I think this is also something that people should work on themselves. Do not hold grudges against people, because you're only bringing yourself down. Like if you always have this bad idea or bad thought in your mind, like, oh, like this person really hurt me and now I hate them, like it's making you feel bad. Like you can just let it go, make peace with it and be like, okay, this situation happened and it hurt me, but it's okay because I can just move on and live my life. So yeah, I have a positive attitude about it.
And do you think that it kind of happened for a reason?
Yeah,
because
definitely.
Your life ended up better because of it.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the 4 Agreements. Have you guys read this book?
No.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
I'm gonna read it.
Oh, you would love it.
I love reading books.
It's right up your alley.
Wow.
So the 4 Agreements, it's like I don't know, I read it like the first time maybe 10 more years ago. But basically the 4 Agreements are like, don't take things personally, never make assumptions, be impeccable with your word, and what's the other one? And I may need to look this up.
Okay.
I forgot the 4th one. But it's like, if you live by those things, you live like so much happier. And like, also just don't taking things personally.
I agree with 2 of those.
I love that. And like, don't making assumptions ruin people all the time. You can assume the worst about so many situations and create like things in your head that aren't true and like be angry about something or think like like just say someone doesn't message you back, or especially with dating, if someone doesn't message you back or whatever, and you're making these assumptions like, oh, they don't want to talk to me. Anything could be happening. They could have been in a car accident. Something could happen with their family, their dog, anything. You make these assumptions because it comes from a very like kind of self-centered place, and then you like end up being more upset and anxious and like living through these things you don't need to live through. If you just stop making assumptions, you're sweet.
So I've been with you on this.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear it.
Living in LA, right? There's a fine line between like becoming jaded. You don't want to do that. But there's also a fine line between just being used by everybody because you're not using your brain to follow your intuition and your assumptions about a situation.
You can still follow intuition and like, but not assumptions. I think assumptions and intuition are two different things.
Okay. They are.
Yeah. So like intuition, if you get a bad feeling about something or you're just like drawn to something else, or intuitively you're like, that person is like maybe, malicious in some way. Yes, always trust your intuition, but making assumptions is that inner voice inside your head that like doesn't shut the fuck up, that you just need to turn off sometimes and realize.
Let me give you a good example. Okay. One of my friends from Wisconsin came and visited LA. He's from Wisconsin. People from Wisconsin never like downloaded like social awareness into their brains. So they're just like going through life, nothing. And so like we're out at the club or whatever. He's talking to some girl. She's like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. Goes to the bathroom. He's all excited about it. Oh yeah. And like, I'm like, now how do I let this guy off easy? I can tell by her body language instantly. Like, yeah, she's being polite. That's what girls do when they don't want to talk to you. They say you have to go to the bathroom.
Most men don't realize that.
And he's like,
I feel like you're polite too. I'm very polite when I'm out.
Yeah.
But go on.
He's like, oh, I can't wait till she comes back. 10 minutes passes, 20 minutes passes. He's like, oh, where did she go? Maybe she forgot. I'm like, bro, she didn't forget. You have to make the assumption. Sorry, she's just not into you. Otherwise, you end up with the creepy dude who follows girls around the club. Fucking, you know what I mean? Like, you have to use your brain.
No, that's not an assumption.
That's just picking up on actual social cues. That's not an assumption.
You can
that's
call
a fact.
it whatever you want.
That's a fact. It was not an assumption. She did not want to talk to him.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's a fact because it's like obvious. Like, it's like, hello, like, use your like brain cells,
Yeah. No, okay, I see what you're saying, but I think they're still different things.
Yeah, they are.
Maybe.
Yeah, assumptions is more like when you see a person and you assume that they're going to be like this because that's just what you think.
Because you're putting your own belief system and things that have happened to
like,
you
I just
onto that person.
assumed you guys are going to be really lame, and then you guys were actually like really cool.
Wow, I actually think you're actually telling the truth right now. You're like, wait, so Anna spoke to you?
I keep an open mind for everybody, I keep an open mind.
Yeah, so you don't make assumptions.
Yeah.
Life is better that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, read this book. It's called The 4 Agreements, and I'm sorry I can't remember all 4 right now.
Yeah,
I feel like
I'll check it out.
I'm saying it wrong. Yeah. I'm trying.
No, it is interesting though, because do you guys think things happen for a reason and
Always.
stuff like that?
Yeah.
So when I was in high school, right, I was like super awkward. My parents were like very religious, so I grew up very like sheltered and like didn't know how to talk to people, didn't have a lot of friends. And so in college, I was like super excited because I was like, nobody knows who I am. I have no reputation.
Fresh slate.
Yeah, I can just be like the cool, social, popular kid at college, right? So college, did you guys go to college?
Yeah, I saw some. I didn't finish. But
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was in the dorms freshman year.
But also it's different in Australia. We don't like do the whole dorms thing. And
Gotcha.
Yeah,
American thing.
Yeah.
And I had this rule, anytime there was like an open door, I was like, anytime there's an open door, I'm going to go in, yo, what's up? My name's Zach. Like, how's your day? Like, make friends, meet people, become like cool and like social and have friends. And it sounds weird, but I'll be like very nervous. Like I'd be in my room like, all right, let's go. Time to make friends. Like time to be cool.
Good for
you know what I mean?
For like going against that and like putting yourself out there. That's like, yeah, really impressive.
So the problem though was I was still very awkward because I didn't know how to talk to people back then. And so instead of becoming like the cool, popular kid on the floor, I kind of became like the weird kid who would come into your room and like be awkward. You know what I mean? Like I kind of developed that reputation instead of like being cool. So okay, no, don't like you're making it worse right now. Honestly, you're making it worse. So around December, right? I kind of figured it out. Like everybody would be polite to you, right? But like nobody would invite you when everybody else got invited to the party. Like nobody asked you to go, right? And so I hated the weekends because like the weekdays, I would just pretend like, oh yeah, I'm here for school. You know, I'm not here to make friends. I'm working, right? But then Fridays and Saturday, you're alone in your room and like you hear everybody outside like with their music and everybody's laughing and making friends. And it made me feel very alone at the time, you know? So this one Friday, I'm alone in my room. And the worst part was the bathroom was all the way on the other side of where my dorm room was. So if I ever had to go to the bathroom, I'd walk really fast because I didn't want anybody to see that like I'm a loser on a Friday night by myself. So
It's
one night,
heartbreaking.
it's fine. It worked out.
I'm
It worked
like,
out.
I want to help.
So I walked past everybody, went to the bathroom, and as I was walking back, the kind of cool kids room was like the door was open, and I'm about to walk past the door, and I hear someone in the room, and they're like, yo, does anybody know that Zach kid? And so I stop because I like don't want them to know that like I heard what they said, right? And someone in the room was like, they're like, yeah, he's super weird. Nobody likes him. And I don't know why the fuck I even cared. Like, who cares about what these fucking random people in the room say? But for some reason, that shit fucking hurt. Like, I don't know why. But then I was trapped out of my room because I didn't want to like pass the door. I didn't want them to see that like I heard.
You hadn't actually walked past it yet? You were still...
I was still waiting, yeah.
Oh.
So then I went to the basement of like the dorm rooms, and they have like the kind of like pool table, the ping pong table, and then in the back corner they had the piano room. And it was like this little closet with like a little upright piano. And I just played there for like 4 hours and the same song over. I knew one song at the time. I played the same song over and over until I like, you know, basically fell asleep. And then every day after class, because I hated being alone in my room because it would make me like think of everything, I would just go down to that fucking piano. I would just play for hours and
That's
hours
beautiful.
and hours.
So thank you to them. Thank you to those assholes.
Yeah, and now it's what I do for a living.
Yeah, that's
it's
cool.
my passion. So it's
That's
like,
meant
So
to be.
everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
But the way that you like, I could see you get emotional, even like
I
thinking
also
about
saw
that and
that.
talking about
No,
that.
we
don't
saw
see all
your
like that.
eyes teared up. You saw
No,
that?
that's
Yeah,
fake
no,
news. That's
no,
fake news CNN. That's
no,
fake news
it's
CNN.
real,
No, but
and
it's
it's like
good.
those things affect you, and I it sucks that like, you know, kids or even young adults are such assholes. Like,
I disagree with you.
it helped obviously, like,
But because
push you toward a certain
on
thing.
the other frame of thing, it's like, what should have they done? Should have they pretended to be my friend? Because the reality was I was a very awkward. I was not confident. And if they would have pretended to like me, then I'm like in this weird relationship with my friends where like I'm still
Fake
weird.
And you wouldn't have overcome that and
never
become
figured
something
it
else.
out.
You wouldn't have like, had that kind of, you know, butterfly moment.
And you wouldn't have gone to the piano room. So.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason, for sure. I feel like I try and put it back to that with a lot of things that have happened in my life. Even like my dog most recently, he had cancer, but I moved into a place where I'm pretty sure is the reason why he ended up contracting a heart infection. And it like wiped him out way quicker than I thought. Like they'd given me like a 1.5 year prognosis. And I thought I was going to get at least a 1.5 years. But 4 months after he was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, he was in hospital. I spent like, it was like a $20,000 hospital bill. He spent 4 or 5 days in hospital.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then it was like stable enough to come home after 4 or 5 blood transfusions, and then I ended up having to put him down like less than like I think it was like 5 days later. But I have to believe that like that happened for a reason, because if I think anything else, the guilt, the wanting to like go back and change things is so overwhelming, and like it's too much to live with. Like so you have to really just trust that everything is happening the way it's supposed to, and like these hard times are happening to make you stronger, like what happened to you. And you can dwell on things, and I have moments like grief has its moments, and you can go through different stages, and I've definitely been through guilt and whatnot, but ultimately I think that was how it was supposed to happen. Obviously it's not how I wanted it to go, the opposite, but I think it did happen for a reason. And if I tell myself anything else, I can't function every day. So in that respect, everything happens for a reason.
It does.
It had to be tough, but like
And
I'm
who
glad that
knows?
you have a
Maybe things
positive
would have been
attitude about
worse.
it.
Maybe he would have
Yeah.
suffered more. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, it happened the way it happened, and it was better for whatever reason. And, you know, hindsight's always different. And who knows how much worse things could have been. Or, you know, I'm in a place right now where I've had the best support after losing him, and I wouldn't have survived without that. So for that reason, I also think as much as potentially moving to this place is the reason why he got sicker quicker and like wiped him out before his time, it was also the reason why I was able to survive and keep going. And yeah, he's got to like look at things that everything's happening the way it's supposed to, and trust the universe, trust the journey. And trying to do that every day. Like you, I try and like, you know, make light of things. When my stupid shower door shattered on my hand, I was just standing there like laughing, because I'm like, this is ridiculous. How the fuck I need stitches. And yeah, 6-hour waits at all the hospitals. I was like, fuck that. We went and got some food and went to sleep and went to urgent care 10 hours later. Yeah. Actually, more, 12 hours later. They're like, we may not be able to give you stitches because you're meant to do it within like 6 hours. I'm like, oh
my
well,
God.
even at the hospital, it would have taken more than 6 hours. So surely you can like give me stitches. And they were like, an emergency room doctor came in. She's like, no, we can do it between 12 and 18 hours. So everyone listening, if you injure yourself, you have up to 18 hours to get stitches.
Now we know.
The risk
Now we know
of
the
risk of
truth.
infection goes up the longer you leave it. So obviously go as quick as possible.
Yeah.
But sitting at the hospital at 2 a.m. in the morning for 6 hours was not my idea of a good time. So yeah, a nice veggie burger on a gluten-free bun and bed was exactly what I needed.
I mean, it seems like you guys are both kind of the attitude of like things happen, you grow, and you kind of look toward the future,
Yeah.
positive mindset.
For sure.
Because life is so much easier like that. Like,
That's true.
Yeah.
really,
It's like a
because
hack.
if you start to think about, if you're in the victim mindset and you're like, no, like bad things are always happening to me, then you're really just bringing yourself down. And I know, because that's where I came from. I wasn't always like this. I used to be
Really?
the
I
biggest.
can't picture you.
No,
Yeah, no,
really,
me
like
neither.
It's impossible.
I was the biggest people pleaser and the biggest victim, and like, wow,
Really?
yeah,
What were you a victim about?
everything. Like people were
Why
just
is this happening to me? Like that
yeah,
kind of
like
thing,
people were just using me left and right, and like I was being too kind, and I didn't realize that people were like taking advantage of me, and everybody was like, oh, can you do this for me, like can you do that for me, can you do this for free? And I was like, okay, like
You should have made some assumptions, you know?
Yeah.
no,
Could have saved you.
no, because like no, but I was like, okay, like I know they're using me, but I want to be nice, so like it's okay,
Yeah.
like I will take the hit, because at least then they don't have to. But that was obviously like super horrible for me, because I was always giving and never getting anything back. So my cup was like empty, it was dry, and it was so bad for me. And also I was like in the biggest victim mindset ever, because I was always like, oh no, like another thing that went bad, why me, na. And so life was really hard like that. It was so hard. But, and actually the thing that really made me realize and change that was when these two best friends just randomly walked out of my life. I was so hurt on top of all the other things that I was dealing with, that I was like, okay, like in the end, it's just me, myself, and I. And if I don't have a good relationship with myself, then life is going to be hard, and life is pretty long. So if I suffer every day, it's going to be like, oh, horrible. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to start loving myself and taking care of myself. And then let's see what happens. So from there, I just started doing research on like psychology and belief systems and like how the brain works and all of these things. And it was so interesting, because I learned a lot about myself and about the people around me. And thanks to that, I was really able to form this positive mindset about things and get over my childhood traumas and the problems and stuff like that. And yeah, like now I just believe that everything is great and everything is great.
You're lucky you learned that at such a young age. Like,
Yes.
that's a blessing. So those girls did you a favor.
What gave you the confidence to kind of get past that, and now you're seem like a very successful travel vlogger?
Yeah. Honestly, I think the confidence, it just came little by little, because I'm a very curious person. So I love to do research about everything. I love to read books and really like dive deep into topics. So all the research that I did about psychology and how the brain works, it really like helped me go so far. And yeah, I think the knowledge gave me a lot of confidence. And from there, everything was just like step by step. I kept growing and getting better, and now I'm here.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah, it really is.
And what's the next goals for the travel influencer business? Do you have goals?
Yeah, I do have goals, but I like to work in the quiet, you know, like...
You like to disappear for a couple months and then everybody's like, whoa, when did you get...
Yeah, no, because the thing is, so when I was learning about the human psychology, and I learned a lot about the brain, and our brain has this thing where if you say the things you want to achieve, if you say them out loud, and the other person is like, wow, that's so cool, your brain takes it as recognition that you already did it. So it gets lazier on working towards the goal because it feels like
you can only manifest on your own.
Yeah.
Because I've always thought that. I didn't know the psychology behind it, but I would always keep my goals private because like the biggest motivation to me was like shocking everybody with like, oh wait, what the fuck? When did you get a 6-pack? You know, like all of a sudden, like what the fuck? Like, even like having the chip on my shoulder when like everybody used to make fun of me for like being poor back in like high school and stuff. Like, I almost miss having that like drive, you know, from like
the edge.
Like nobody knows. Like everybody's like, okay, I didn't say anything, but like they're gonna find out one day. You know, like that kind of chip on your
like
shoulder.
a fuck you to everyone.
Yeah, like that was always like
that's
a
what
huge,
drives you.
kind
like,
of,
fuck
yeah.
you.
The dark side of the force, the lightning bolts, you know.
No, but it's all in the brain chemistry. Like that's literally how our brains work. So I like to keep my goals private, and when I reach the end goal, I can just show people the result.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that's how I
respect that.
Yeah. Nice. Well, we are well over time, but I feel like we're cooking. We're kind of cooking for a while.
Yeah,
so I kind of wanted to let it go. We got one ending question that we always ask. My business partner is not here today. He's unfortunately out of town, but we're having a debate. So if you guys meet a guy, he texts you, the bubble's green. Is that a red flag?
Like he texts you nothing?
No, like he texts you and like he has an Android phone.
Oh, see, I didn't even know what that was.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't.
I was like, wait,
either.
what does that mean?
Oh, you guys aren't from America. You guys just use WhatsApp or whatever.
No,
Yeah.
but okay, so I've lived here for a while, so
Oh,
I
okay.
know that. But I just thought when it's green, they're on like a plane or something.
You're like it's either a scam or they're on a plane. One of the
like,
two.
they're like...
Or they got their phone from the government program.
Wait, so you mean there's like iMessage and text message, right? This is what you
iMessage
mean?
and
Yeah,
then,
I
like,
don't know if I trust someone on
third world
Android.
one. The third world.
The
app
third
or
world.
whatever.
I mean, I
They
don't
text
know.
you videos and you're like, is this a party or is this like World War II footage? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I use WhatsApp, so
Oh, okay.
because I have very international friends, and
Yeah, you're traveling all the time.
yeah, it's most people use WhatsApp or something.
I know.
see.
Everyone tries to message me on WhatsApp from Australia, and I'm like, there's too many apps to check. I'm like,
I
can you just?
know.
Yeah.
And my mom messages me on Facebook Messenger.
Oh my god, same. So
So
all of
cute.
my friends in Estonia and my family, we use Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
Like that's what Estonians
Australia
use.
too.
Then like people from around the world, we use WhatsApp. With my Ukrainian friends, I used to use Telegram, but now they
Too
also
many.
moved to WhatsApp. And then some people are only on Instagram, and some people are on text message.
Yeah.
They're just like all
It's
over
too
the
many,
place.
and I have notifications like turned off for everything. So if I don't respond to you, that's why. It's
crazy
too much.
'cause, like, I didn't know anybody used Facebook until I got blasted in this Facebook group.
Hate?
Have you guys heard of these Facebook groups? So I woke up to like 17 text messages from like girls that I know with like these screenshots.
Oh, like you were like called out for being like a fuckboy, like you said.
Yeah, they have groups
Yeah,
for
they're like,
fuckboys.
don't date this guy. Okay, yeah,
And I
what's
was
that group
always an
called?
honest fuckboy. I was very honest. You know, I was never like a lying fuckboy. You know, I was like one of the good ones.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
the girls always think they can still change you in the beginning of that. They're
yeah.
like, I'm gonna be the one that he wants to be with.
I know. It's like, it's not my, I'm the
So you're
victim. If
no,
anything
but you
in this
played
situation.
into that for sure. You're like, I just did tell them the truth, and they still want to
I
do
mean,
it
I
because
was a
they
good,
want to change me.
I was good at gaslighting, if that's what you're asking. I was a
Fuck,
professional
that's terrible.
gaslighter.
I mean, at least you can acknowledge it and admit it, and hopefully
Yeah.
do better now.
Yeah, you know, I consider myself a fuck man now. You know? I've evolved past the fuckboy stage.
That's really funny.
Now
Okay.
I'm very shine romantic.
Still
and
problematic.
gentleman.
Still problematic in
Gentleman.
some way. If you're saying you're a fuck
I
man.
prefer the term edgy. I prefer
Edgy.
the term
Okay, yeah.
edgy,
You like that word. Yeah. But yeah, that's funny. Congrats.
Thank you so much.
Congrats for that evolution from fuckboy to fuckman.
I do what I can.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been fun. We'll have to have you guys on for round 2 sometime.
For sure.
Yeah.
When you're back in LA again.
Yeah, like I'll let you guys know. I have no idea when, but sometime in the future for sure.
Sounds good.
We'll get you back.
Thanks for listening.